Let's go!
Hey, hello and welcome to the Cricket Debaters Show. Yes, so of course we are here talking cricket, not sport in general, but we're talking cricket. And of course, it's been a while. We have been together talking cricket in the Caribbean, cricket in Tobago, cricket in Trinidad. But of course, we felt the need to have a special show tonight, given the recent developments surrounding West Indies cricket. And I'm sure that you guys have been following on social media all that's happening also in Trinidad and around the region. So much to discuss where cricket is concerned. You know, it's our sport of choice here in the Caribbean. I'm sure you guys saw me crying on a live recently talking about West Indies cricket. I even saw today now a meme talking about a fed up of West Indies cricket, a fed up. And I've said it many times that when West Indies cricket, I don't want to say it saved my life, but it pointed me in a positive direction. And I have so much to be thankful for because of cricket and West Indies cricket and the legends of West Indies cricket. So we are here tonight. We're going to be talking West Indies cricket, Tobago's cricket, Trinidad and Tobago's cricket. We also have some secondary schools cricket we're going to talk about. And of course, we can't forget the CPL. So my name is Marcus Daniel, otherwise known as Mr. Cricket. And of course, my co-host tonight on my left, I'll allow him to introduce himself.
Well, what you want me to say? Good night, everybody. Ansel Ned, aka Sir Nederific, right? I add this Sir to it, you know, as time goes by, you tend to add this thing. Yeah, so it's no longer Nederific, it is Sir Nederific.
So you knight your own self, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not waiting for anybody to do that for me.
I thought it was Darren Sammy knighted you anyway, because I want to know how you got knighted here with no title at all.
Just in case you don't know, I'm now a citizen of St. Lucia.
Yeah.
So.
That's the best thing to have done.
Of course, number one supporter.
Yeah.
Number one supporter. I forgot my crown at home today, but don't worry, during the season, it will be coming out. It will be coming out.
Yeah. So Ned, so happy to be here tonight. We're missing our third wheel. Jason Posad caught up with some work. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
He's caught up with some work. I'm not too sure if he's timid or intimidated about the fact that the TKR team, they're looking very powerful this year, and he can't say much about the Ghana Amazon Warriors. But I must say, you have shown the character to still be here tonight, to be sitting among greatness. You're looking for a fifth title. I know you're still looking for your first. But I didn't come tonight to discuss so much on the CPL. But I want to encourage you guys to share the live. I want to also ask you guys to participate in the discussion. We want to hear from you guys. You can comment in the comment section on social media there. We are also live on Amplia 102. Yes, so big updates on TV now, big and large, not just on social media, but we're also on TV on Amplia 102. And then, of course, they say charity begins at home and ends abroad. You can dive in terms of the discussion on cricket from here in Tobago. We have had our local season. We had the 2-day league. We started with that. Then we came down to the 40 overs tournament. Unfortunately, some may say fortunately, we did not have the T20 tournament, but we did have the Chief Secretary's Bago T10 Blast. How has the season been for you?
Well, it was really, really good. Mind you, I played 2 of those 3 competitions in Tobago here. The third competition I played, with my club in Trinidad, right? And I could probably say that we, won our division, which is the Central Division. Big up to Exchange Sports Club, right? And also, right, in Tobago here, my team, which I captain again, won the 2-day competition in Tobago, which was Northside.
Northside Smashers.
Right? Yeah. And well. My club CMB, which I only played the semi-final, and I had to leave early, due to circumstances, right? And then we played the final in that same tournament, and we were joint champions with the new team, Tobago Gladiators. Yeah. Right? So I'm really, really happy about it. I think, and even in the Tobago Chief Sec T10 Blast, after a dismal performance last season. You know, I'm not winning that game. We got all the way to the finals this year, and we were beaten by Keyshawn Dillon's.
Is it Fort King George Gunners?
Fort King George Gunners, yeah. So I think in all, we got to the finals in every competition this year. So I'm happy. My season was really, really good. I have some trophies to collect. I'm in presentation in Trinidad, for scoring hundreds. I know a lot of people they want to know where that came from, but yes, Ned could hold a bat. Right?
Yeah, and for me being involved in the season this year with Ickenham Bonaccord Sports Club, and also I took a choke with the Northside Smashers. And it was predominantly a more senior squad, but we were able to pull out a victory there. And it was the Tobago Cricket Association trying to get the youngsters more involved with the longer format. Because I can tell you, and you can tell me as well, when we started to play, we were really looking forward to the 2-day format over the 40 overs or even the shorter format, the shortest format of the game.
Yeah.
Because I think for the 2 days, you had time where you could have gotten 100, or you can have gotten like a lot of wickets to your name, and you look forward to being crowned the Tobago Cricketer of the Year. Yeah. And it was a pleasing sight, that the Cricket Association would have felt it necessary to bring back that 2-day format, but we didn't get the competitiveness that we were looking for. Because I sit on the Cricket Association as well. I was happy that some of the youngsters, Orlando James, Akili Ross, Josh Telemark, all those guys got the opportunity to play the longest format that we have here in Tobago. Because the 2 days is still a short format. Yeah. Majority of the teams didn't bat out a whole day. Some of them didn't bat past 30 overs because they're accustomed to just trying to get ones as fast as possible. And what we are seeing now in West Indies cricket is a reflection of our domestic season, and not just in Tobago, but the other domestic competitions we have throughout the country. But so I felt that it was necessary to have the 2-day competition, but the zones that we would have put together, we didn't get that competitiveness from all the zones. We had 4 zones participating. I think we had a defaulted game as well. Let's imagine a bigger franchise team and that team defaulted because, in terms of organizing, we didn't get that cohesiveness from all the franchises. So I'm not so sure if the TCA may be inclined to go that way again next year, but we definitely need a program that can speak to the youngsters playing more than 20 overs or more than 40 overs. You understand? Then you come down to the 40 overs tournament. It was a bit competitive. Yes, one team basically dominated. In fact, one player dominated. Leon Lezama was very outstanding with the bat. I think he scored like 200s. Can't remember the name of the teams he scored against, but some team from Canaan he scored 100 against.
You weren't the receiving end of
I said I can't remember what team they scored 100 against.
But I just ask you.
Right.
I just asking.
But he scored 100 and he got wickets as well, bowling his off breaks. And the Go Gladiators, that's the name of the new team that we had this year. Jaron Alfred, Kevin Samuel. They also had Damian Ramsey was in that squad. Yeah. Josh Telemark.
Yeah, Josh Ayok.
Xavier Reed. Yeah. Jaden Kent. Yeah. So they had a really nice unit challenging the other teams, Ickenham Bonaccord Sports Club. We also had Roxbury Lakers participating, Airport Authority.
Georgia
was in the mix as well. When I started playing cricket in Tobago, we had 15 teams participating, and we are now down to 7 teams, 7 or 8 teams.
7 or 8.
So there's so many factors involved why we have a depletion in terms of teams. If we start listing those factors, we may not go into the discussion of West Indies cricket and of course the CPL. But yeah, the season was a bit short. We didn't have our annual T20, and all the clubs they were looking forward to that. But due to the inclement weather, finance, and so many other things, too long to list tonight, we didn't have the T20. But I was happy that we still had the Bego T10 Blast, the Chief Secretary's Bego T10 Blast, and I must commend your team for rebounding from a dismal performance last year.
I really tried not to remember that. But last year was. Whew,
yeah, but you think it had anything to do with the return of the prodigal son, even still? The prodigal son, he missed last year.
I mean, of course, Neven in any team he would be, a big plus, right? Yeah. And of course, in the very first game, he showed, that the kind of caliber of player he really is. We lost that game, right? I wouldn't say why or how we lost the game, but we lost that game, right? But he really did. He stood alone in that particular game, and even stuff in games. later down in the group stages, right? He came and he helped me a lot on the field, both him and Jason Mohammed. You know, they really, both of them, you know, their experience, you know, playing at the highest level, right? You know, both with bat ball, you know, helping set in the field, etc. I mean, so it will be crazy for me to say that even inclusion in my team was not a plus.
Yeah. So you all got to the final there, but I think you were beaten by a very good team, a team that was very motivated.
Well, oil machine.
Yeah, and they had the support of the crowd up in the Sidgate Sporting Complex there. So
what I can remember, there was a game that we shared the points. Man, I think next year we need security for those four King George Gunners. I think the supporters are a little bit too aggressive.
Yeah, and because an umpire even quit. He said, "I've done the cricket, you know." He was threatened.
Yeah, we need more security next season for them supporters up there.
Yeah, and of course a commendation to the Fort King George Gunners. Yeah, I know, on taking that title to the Bago T10 Blast. Well, we have been joined until by a very famous face here in Trinidad and Tobago, and JSC around the region.
Yeah,
you know, his face is very famous, and when you hear the voice as well, you'll begin to understand, you know, the popularity of the songs. Oh, watch at that. You know, and if it's one thing, he has never departed from that hairstyle at all.
Ever since I saw him.
Hey, welcome, Saunders. A different setup from what you know in the studios of TV6.
Yes, definitely. Yes, I just got off here, so you know I had to jump in the cricket debaters show because you know let's debate cricket.
Fantastic. I mean, we were just discussing, you know, our local season here in Tobago. Of which we had a 2-day league, we had a 40 overs, and then we had a T10 Blast. And we didn't jump into the West Indies aspect, you know, just as yet. But I know you are busy, man. But I mean, you know, we invited you here tonight because you standing at studio every night talking about sports. And I'm sure in the last 2 weeks or so, with the West Indies cricket team participating in the ICC World Cup qualifiers, I mean, reading the sports news and seeing the likes of Netherlands beating the West Indies and Scotland. I mean, just give me your thoughts as a sportcaster on the West Indies cricket.
Well, it could be very disheartening, and you know, it is disappointing because you know I've been involved in sports journalism for quite a number of years. So I've seen West Indies in the good, the bad, not so good, the indifferent times, but you know, I feel like, you know, this time you've broken a barrier in terms of the level of disappointment to see West Indies here to qualify for a World Cup in the first time or at least in my lifetime that I can remember. You know, you always feel a sense of disappointment being on the wrong side of history. I think we could point fingers at so many factors, but I believe firstly that, you know, internally we have to start looking at ourselves, and we have to ask the question, you know, many times you've heard the term minnows, and we've pointed fingers, we've called the Namibias and the Ireland's minnows. I think, you know, it's about time, you know, we ask the question, are we West Indies? Are we a minnow now?
And that's a question that the likes of Scotland and Netherlands, they don't like to be referred to as minnows or associate. They believe that they deserve a spot or to be called a full member squad. And based on what we have seen in the qualifiers, definitely with Scotland looking like they're going to qualify as well, and even Netherlands in the running, I mean, the point might be justified in being a full member squad. But James, I mean, the current couple of players that we have representing the West Indies, do you believe that they are the best, or do we have others in the Caribbean that we're just not tapping into?
I think that's a debate that will go on forever, ever. Amen. You'll always have that debate whether or not we have the best team. You know, I have my own reservations in terms of the squad selection. I think what I think is that it's about time that the West Indies start looking at some of the youngsters. And, you know, a decent rising star program coming through now where the focus is on development. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, is it time that we start including these youngsters? If they show good form, if they show some level of consistency, you look around at other squads around the world right now, in not just cricket, but any other sport, you see 18 and 19-year-olds being blooded and included in senior squad. I think the West Indies is one of the few teams that, you know, maybe you have to be about 28 and they're still calling you a youngster. You know, I think it's about time that, you know, apart from just looking around and saying, hey, do we have the best squad here? Did we pick the right people? If we are to lose right now, I would rather lose with some youngsters being incorporated as part of the development plan than have these youngsters not included, not part of the experience. So you carry them on tours and they rarely ever play, and then we lose right now. So I wouldn't look around and say whether or not we have the best squad or not. I think that's a debate that will always be relative. But do we have room for the youngsters? That's the number one question I would have selected.
Yeah, and then you can come in as well when you want to know. I mean, you have seen the West Indies play in these qualifiers, and before the qualifiers, you will think that Sri Lanka and the West Indies are going to easily qualify. I mean, where did it go wrong for the West Indies?
Well, apart from the selection of the team, like James said, there's a debate that will go on forever and ever, right? But I mean, I think that's where it all boils down to, right? Apart from that, too, I don't think we play enough cricket here, right? These guys in Netherlands and those guys, right? Yeah. They play a lot of first-class cricket. Our season, we basically play 6-7 games and that's done, right?
But when you look at the likes of Jason Holder, Shea Hope, Kyle Mears, Akil Hussain, even who again? Johnson Charles. Those guys are globetrotters in terms of T20 and T10s around the world. They are very experienced in different conditions.
And Marcus, but that shows how they bat in 50-over games. Yeah. They bat the way they bat is like they're playing a T10 game or a T20 game, right? And a 50-over game requires a lot more concentration because you have 50 overs to bat, right? So you need to just temper it maybe just a little bit, right? When you watch Virat Kohli and these guys, right? These guys are 3-format players, right? They know to convert or to change from test batting to 50-over batting and T20 batting. So, like I remember Lara said a few years ago, right, when he was playing, like the game of cricket is 80% mental. Yeah. So we have to think our game properly, and I don't think we are doing that.
Yeah, and I asked James the question about the current crop of players that we have at our disposal, or the current crop of players out in Zimbabwe. You believe that those are the best players that we have at our disposal?
No, clearly not. Clearly not. I mean, there are guys I would like to see, like in the playing 11, right?
But they can say it today. You can say it.
That's my boy. But he's my first pick. I'm a captain. I'm a captain too. But I mean, like I will always like for Sunil to be in my team, right? Because it clearly shows that we can't take 10 wickets in a 50-over game against these minnow teams. Yeah. Right? I mean, Sri Lanka been rolling these guys out for under 150 every single game. I don't think nobody scored 200 against Sri Lanka in this entire tournament, right? Yeah. And teams running down 300 plus runs, almost 400 runs against us. Easy. So I think we need a proper bowler, right? Which is Sunil, right? And I don't know how it is Evan Lewis cannot make our West Indies team. I really don't know, right? Not even that, but I think we'll get to that later, right? In terms of how he's not even in the best 50 players in the Trinidad setup, right? That's something else. So guys like like those who I think really missing from our team.
Yeah, and James, let's come back to you. I've seen the debate on social media, and a lot of persons have been saying that the guys aren't committed because the other leagues around the world are paying much more than what the West Indies can afford to pay the players. And I say can afford because our cricket not attractive enough as the India or Australia or even England to really demand that the players come back home and play in our first class system or even play in our club system to really get that exposure or get the amount of matches, as Ned mentioned, under their belts. Is it that loyalty comes into play here? As one of the factors for the performances that we are actually seeing from the West Indies now?
I think loyalty is a give and take. Loyalty isn't demanded based upon one side versus the other. I mean, we've heard you talk about loyalty since the days of Brian Lara when he played, and when we listen to the players speak, it has always come back to the administration, and most are unhappy with the way that the administrative side of things in West Indies cricket have gone. I honestly don't think that money is the main factor. Money may play a factor in terms of some players choosing to play some of the other leagues around the world. But when you listen deeply to the players speak, it has always come back to the way that the game has been run administratively. And since the days of the older players, we've been hearing that, and we've got to ask ourselves: has anything changed administratively with the way that West Indies cricket is run? Is it run professionally enough? Because these players, of course, will be exposed to the top level competition, top level administrative side of things, and then when you come back to the West Indies, and you can't even get proper training kits to play in,
right.
some minor issues like that.
Would you make any changes? Would you make any changes to the management, saying that we did not qualify for this World Cup? When I say management, in terms of selectors, the captain, the coach, come right down, because obviously we're not going to make any change in terms of the Cricket West Indies president. Mr. Shallow, Dr. Shallow has just been appointed president of the West Indies Cricket. In terms of the selectors, the management that will have accompanied the team to Zimbabwe, would you make any changes to the management setup?
We definitely have to make changes. Maybe it's a bit premature, I think, in terms of the coach, Darren Samia, they would have just gotten there. In terms of the coaching setup of it, and Darren Samia has been pretty transparent. He's been pretty honest in terms of the performance of the team and his assessment of how that has gone. But administratively, perhaps I think what we need firstly is that the stakeholders in West Indies cricket demand more from the administration. In terms of, is our coaching education off the par? When we look at the West Indies team, despite who we've got on the field, whether we think that the best level is there or not, what we do see lacking is a strong sense of, being updated in modern tactics of the game. I think in many of the games that we would have lost, it was just poor tactics, poor strategy by the West Indies. Have we updated our coaching education programs? Are we using best practices in terms of the modern aspect of the game? Can I point a finger directly and say, is it the coach yet, or is it the WIC or Cricket West Indies who's not interested? I think that's the job of the stakeholders, and for too long, stakeholders have just remained very passive in terms of demanding stuff like this. And firstly, I think it has to start there. We have to hold the stakeholders in West Indies cricket accountable, and from there we can decide whether or not we want to make changes.
Okay, and you made a really good point there. During my rant last week, when Netherlands chased down 376 runs against us, and I mentioned that how Netherlands beating us, and we have better facilities and better players, and a good friend, someone who was always, I've always regarded as a cricket intelligent person, would have mentioned that same with strategy, and against Netherlands, strategy proved to be our downfall, because you can't make 376, right? I mean, if I make it, you can make it to us. But still, we have the fellas and the players that I believe can rule over them teams. Then you got to the point of a super over. You bail out. And then you went and you give Jason Hola the ball to bowl. Then even before he reached Jason Hola, the second to last over, the penultimate over. We all in cricket know. You give your best bowler the penultimate over to bowl so you can close out the match. Who he gave this penultimate over?
Chase Ruston.
He gave Ruston Chase the ball to a right-hander. Sometimes I wonder if it is that because you see all kind of thing about spot fixing and match fixing. I just have to wonder sometimes, because anybody with cricketing intelligence will know that, hey, Alzarri is our fastest bowler. We have a right-hander at the crease. Let me give Alzarri the ball to close up the game.
Yeah.
So you made a really good point there in terms of strategy. And no matter how good you are, if you don't plan properly, you're not going to execute properly. And I was really happy to hear. Go ahead.
We also saw that in the T20 World Cup as well. I think that we lost as a result of bad strategy, and it just shows that we've often heard the term square pegs in the wrong holes. And I mean, if it were to put that into a more palatable phrase, basically we're outdated. The people that we have in charge of strategizing and planning for West Indies cricket, are we up to date or are we dinosaurs in terms of the game and where the game has gotten to? Is it time that we look outside maybe in terms of hiring consultants from outside to ensure that our cricket, our strategies are up to date? Are we looking at the best countries in the world right now, maybe in India, Australia, and seeing what they're doing in terms of developing that side of the game, the mental side of the game, the tactical acumen. Because I think that we've got talented players. Despite the 11 that we have there, we are able, or we should be able, to be beating all of these teams in these qualifiers. But mentally, do we have it all together in terms of strategy? Do we have the best strategies? Are we employing the best strategies? Or are we still employing strategies from back in the 80s?
And before we let you go, James, because I know that you have other duties, you're a very busy man in the country, and we want to allow you to ensure that you fulfill all your responsibilities. Can West Indies cricket be saved?
It definitely can. It will take some level of accountability, as I said, from the stakeholders, different boards around the region. It shouldn't just be about jostling for position or trying to get a position within Cricket West Indies or get a trip or get a to be part of the coaching staff. It should be all the boards being held accountable and saying, what have we done? How are we contributing to what's happening here in West Indies cricket? I think we need a forensic examination of ourselves, firstly, an honest examination of ourselves, because we are all to blame as stakeholders of West Indies cricket. Can be saved, but we collectively have to come together on the same page.
So right, because no matter how upset we are, CPL in September, you can see all in Queen's Park Oval and in Bralava Stadium, all in Guyana. We're celebrating now, we're partying, no matter how bad West Indies playing. In other countries or any serious country, we boycotting because we're letting them know that we're not pleased with the performances. Because, who are you going to support now, Ned, in the World Cup? Who are you going to support in the World Cup now?
India.
Oh my God. James, just before we take a break, James, thank you so much for being with us tonight. I look forward to TV6 hosting the CPL. And of course, feel free to join us anytime or call on us to have a discussion about TKR winning this year. He's supporting St. Lucia. Yet to win a title. But thank you so much for being with us here tonight, James, on the Cricket Debater Show. Have a good evening.
Hey, that's me, man.
Yeah, fantastic. Fantastic. And then I know he mentioned something very important there, strategy. Yeah. Right? I remember there was a one-day international West Indies. You remember Xavier Marshall as a free hit.
And left alone.
And Xavier Marshall leave alone the ball. that is not cricket smart. So it comes down to these little things. Because we have a batting coach, we have a bowling coach, and we have backroom staff.
Yeah,
and these are the guys supposed to be these guys supposed to be guiding the players on the field of play. But sometimes the simple things as bowling the best bowler in the planet over. You ain't no strategy for that.
I was wondering that I think that they have a paper, right, that says from over 1 to 10.
Oh, so they're going to do the same thing.
You bowl is over. So regardless of what happened, the 50th over, you have to bowl the 50th over. Maybe that's what happening.
So they're not versatile.
Yeah. They'll be able to think on the spot.
All right.
Yeah, and make adjustments as the game go along.
And you mentioned paper, right? This guy from Scotland. I'm sure you always see he has a paper.
Yeah, I think was somebody knocked us out of beat us in I think it was the T20 World Cup. Right? One of those small teams again. And the captain came out with a paper. Okay. Kyle Mayers, bowl him this particular way. Right? He had a plan for our first 5 batsmen.
Yeah. And that's how you have to play, right? Obviously you have to study your opponents. Because you just can't take anything for granted. And I think West Indies would have gone into that ICC Charm World Cup qualifiers
I feel so
thinking that
they already qualified.
We already qualified because Netherlands not going to beat us or Oman or Scotland. There's a guy from Scotland bowling close to 90 miles per hour.
Marcus, but those guys, right? Like in Netherlands and Scotland, those guys plays county cricket.
Yeah.
So it's not just any fluke guys they're coming up against. They probably won't hear them because it's Netherlands or whatever it is. But when you go on the county scene, you hear about all these guys, and plenty of them are big touts across there.
Yeah, and I think that's why they are very disappointed that they are continuously referred to as minnows, associates, or some team not worthy of playing against the full member from my squad. Beating West Indies may not be a point to prove or a point to go and debate about because we have had some bad days as West Indies cricket. And the reason why I always say that we should be beating those teams, there must be a reason why franchises around the world are paying big money for Nicholas Pruan, paying big money for Jason Hola, Johnson Charles. There must be a reason. And if it is that we can't have all those players coming together, using the experiences from not just playing on the field, but in the dressing rooms, that would the rupture
very cool and all them fellas there.
Yeah.
So you're not picking up anything at all.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember I saw an interview with David Warner a few years ago. That's when Shiv was still playing, right? And they asked him, I think in that particular series, he was batting really, really long and taking his time on batting. And they asked him, so what do you think, contributed, to this different approach? And he was like, playing county cricket with Chanda Paul in the team. He said, so what Shiv did? He said, Shiv is the only man he ever saw bat 5 hours on the bowling machine. Mm-hmm. And when he asked him, he said, because when I go in a test match, I have to bat 5 hours in a day.
That is actually planning for a match.
Exactly.
Because you know that when you go to play a test match and you want to bat long, you have to actually prepare to bat long. And the stuff that we missed out on not qualifying for a World Cup. I mean, we already cash strapped. When you qualify for a World Cup, the team itself, the players, they benefit from appearance fees. The board, they receive money. The money will should trickle along to the different territorial boards. And of course, that will help with our development. So we missed out. So we still have to look for sponsors. And then when you had a World Cup too, you can go and ask for sponsors to come in and buy into the team.
Yeah, but our jersey plain.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. We want to take a short break. We were forced to jump into the West Indies discussion because we had James. But I like how we started that conversation. All right, but we have so much to discuss still on the program tonight. I want to thank you guys so much for joining us. Remember to share the live. We're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to come back with some more cricket debaters.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up and look, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up and look. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
From the experts that created the Zinger sandwich comes the KFC Crispy Barbecue Zinger.
The only one I see is you.
Cheddar cheese, crispy onions, the most delicious Kentucky Fried Chicken, and barbecue sauce. Get ready for a whole new level of flavor.
Dance Ensemble Tobago presents the return July 8th, 2023 from 5 p.m. Dance Sport Championship and Dancing with Caribbean Stars 10th edition at the Shore Park Complex, representing for 2023 THA Assemblyman Natisha Charles Pantin. Rise and Shine Morning Show host Brother B, former host of Let's Talk Tobago, Avian Parks, Lady Morge of Pulse 89.5 FM, Cara Vaughan of Freedom 106.5 FM, Michelle Borrell of 107.7 FM. For more information, contact TobagoDanceport@gmail.com or Miss N White 772-9049 or Miss N Dick 340-5758. Admission only $150. Children only $75 at the door. Tickets available at D&D Jeweler, Tobago United Corporate, Milford 24 Gas Station, Crown Point, Tobago, and Dance Ensemble class members. After party from 10 p.m. till midnight. Don't you miss this one.
Jimmy's Holiday Resorts has 1, 2, and 3 bedroom, fully self-contained apartments located at the heart of Crown Point. Minutes walk to the popular beaches, restaurants, bars, and the airport. Enjoy our amazing amenities such as fully equipped apartments, complete with Wi-Fi, AC, TV, and a pool, and a mini-mart on the compound. Call 639-8292 or 8929. Jimmy's Holiday Resorts is your family's home away from home.
This is gut-wrenching. For the first time in their history of the Men's Cricket World Cup, the West Indies team will not be a part of the event later this year in India. The epitaph has been written and signed. It's been a dramatic fall from grace from the former two-time winners of the Cricket World Cup, two-time World T20 champions as well. Change the captain, change the coach, change who you want. The results have still gone against what was expected. Carlos Brathwaite alongside me. If we go back to the start of this tournament, the West Indies would have come in with high hopes, a full member nation. But the group stages were a disappointment in the level of performance, certainly in the field and with the bat. It begs the question, in your view, is this an acceptable level that the West Indies displayed, first of all isolating the group stage?
Well, I think the short answer to that is no. And it has been a long time coming. Obviously another format, T20, missed out as well last year. So in white ball cricket, there has been troubles in the past. I think this is the lowest you can go. And the group stage epitomized from the USA game. They got over the USA, yes, but they didn't manage to roll them over, even bowl them out. It wasn't clinical enough, in my opinion. And as a result, that same attitude then transpired and probably even progressed and got even worse as it went on. What they found in Netherlands and Zimbabwe is more professional opponents, ones that would capitalize. Once they came up against Zimbabwe and Sikandar Raza, who made them pay, Ryan Burrell, who made them pay with his chance, and then the Netherlands, who ran them ragged. A lot of things that happened in previous games that they weren't made to pay for, once the level and the standard went up, then it came to a head. And by that time in this tournament, the way it plays, it's too late. And they're trying to catch the horse as it's bolted. And this is the end result now.
Yeah, and then we come out of the group stage into the first match of the Super Six against Scotland, who beat the West Indies in the T20 World Cup. What impressed you about Scotland and what didn't for the West Indies that caused another disappointment?
Find in the West Indies, and the stat was called on there, in the previous 18 ODIs, only managed to get 10 wickets on 7 occasions. So that means there is a challenge in getting teams bowled out.
Yeah, it's been a difficult journey for fans of West Indies cricket and neutral fans and fans across different borders. As we look forward, there's still a couple of games left, but the way forward for West Indies cricket, is the talent still there? I think we talk about young players like Athanaze, Wickham, Jaden Seals, who are still available, just to name a few. Is it a procurement of that talent? Is it a grassroots issue? Is it a support staff issue? What's the challenge going forward?
I think there's a lot of issues, Bish.
All right, let's identify
even beyond what you mentioned. But I think you cast your mind back to 3 years ago, and the Sherfane Rutherfords and the O'Shane Thomases, Fabian Allens, they were the ones in and amongst. So remember O'Shane Thomas and Fabian Allen being like 2019 World Cup for sure. That was 4 years ago. So 4 years later, you're now looking for another crop. And it can't be the situation where every 4-year cycle that the World Cup is supposed to happen, that you're in the same situation. So that procurement of talent refers to identification.
Talent ID.
Identification of talent is one, but then how do you develop that talent? So I think it needs to be a situation where the guys that are identified, that there's a clear pathway from first class and regional cricket to A-team to international cricket. And then how do you consistently back it with the right brand of cricket in place, the right structure to ensure not only success periodically, but sustained success.
Yep, so there you have it in a nutshell. It's been a dramatic fall from grace from the former two-time winners of the Cricket World Cup, two-time World T20 champions as well. So it's systemic, and you need to change the system, adjust the system and the infrastructure. Roads ahead.
Yeah, welcome back. A mouthful there by Ian Bishop and Carlos Brathwaite. Remember the name. He's no longer representing the West Indies, but he's in the studios around the world. And I must say that he has been doing really good in terms of commentary I know he's now playing his trade in the UK at the county level. Some of the terms used there: gut wrenching and a fall from grace. West Indies cricket. We have been joined by someone many believed should have actually gotten all the way up to West Indies cricket, but a former national player, now playing his trade out there in the US, in India as well, around the world. Very knowledgeable about cricket, and he wants to get in on the discussion about West Indies and what he believes are the factors involved in the fall from grace, as Ian Bishop would have put it. Welcome to the show, Mr. Stewart.
Good night to the panel.
Yeah, that's loud and clear, right?
Just tuned in and listening to James, and I like the way the debate started, but nice to see you guys back. I always tune in, so thanks for having me.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm even, just your initial thoughts on West Indies cricket not the West Indies cricket, but West Indies team performances at the ICC, the current ICC World Cup qualifiers.
To be honest, it wasn't surprising to me. I think all of us who didn't heed the words of Carl Hooper when he openly came out and said that we are at the lowest point, and if we don't qualify, then we have lots of catching up to do. Some of the senior players within the setup disregarded it, took it for granted. But if you have been following associate cricket for the last 4 to 5 years, which I have been a part of, playing here in the USA, playing lots of associate tournaments against some of these players, Scotland, Netherlands, they all participate in tournaments here in the US, and having shared dressing rooms and shared the playing fields with these guys, I knew what they were capable of. And I knew once it came down to taking the game deep, anything past 20 overs, these guys have a lot of knowledge. These guys have a lot of experience. Don't look at it as Holland being Netherlands and football and stuff like that. These guys are top quality players, and they are very, very calculated. So I wasn't surprised at all.
And even you would have played with the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force team that would have gone all the way to India and been victorious in a T20 format as well. Champions League. Likes of Dwayne Bravo, Darren Gangan, all those guys were in that squad. Would you say that you guys were well prepared in terms of the backroom staff, because you had the talent, but in terms of mental preparation and planning strategy, what do you think you guys would have done differently there then to what you are seeing of the West Indies team now? Because obviously from the to get into the West Indies team, we have to play regional cricket. That's where we start off with. So you guys would have been successful against good franchises around the world. I want to get an understanding from you, and of course, I can tell the viewers, what are some of the things that you guys would have done differently in the dressing room to be successful on the field of play.
To be quite frank, every tournament that we embarked on, before we went to India in 2009, we went to Guyana and we played against Guyana, probably 5 or 6 matches. Our preparations were thorough and very seamless, very meticulous. Obviously, Darren, astute leader, don't take anything for granted. That was in 2009, 2011. Then we went to South Africa in 2012. We went to Barbados and we played like 8-9 matches against different Barbados teams, played on different surfaces, which we all thought would have been very similar in nature to the ones that we would encounter there in South Africa. So our preparations were always well thought out. If you look at Zimbabwe and all these teams, they were playing a lot of cricket leading up to this ICC event because they knew the importance of it. Probably half of our team were in UAE playing. Where were the other half? They were home, chilling with their families, having fun, whatever, because in the back of their minds, they thought it would have been a walkover. Well, we all saw they got a rude awakening. Who are the ones that are left to feel the brunt of the burden, the brunt of the pain? the supporters, the fans, who are the main stakeholders. I heard James speaking about the stakeholders must be held accountable. But we, the supporters, we the fan base, we are the stakeholders. We are the one who set up hours of the night or wake up early in the morning.
Tell me about
and
it.
back them, rally around them as they call it.
Yeah.
And I think our preparations were a mess. There were no preparation. When we talk strategy as well,
Yeah.
that guy who opened for Sri Lanka, Dimuth Karunaratne, right? He hasn't played 50 over cricket for 2 years for Sri Lanka. What they did, they realized, yo, it's Zimbabwe's winter. Whoever bats first, it's gonna be a test match sort of situation. The ball is gonna seam, the ball is gonna swing. We're gonna give the first 10 to 15 overs to the bowling team. Who do we bring into our team? Dimuth Karunaratne. He's a test match player. He leaves the ball well. It is gonna be a test match situation. So after that 15 initial bursts, then we have our middle order to take over. He ended up with most runs for Sri Lanka. Who do we have at the top? Guys who don't know where the off stump is, guys who doesn't know how to hit the ball, guys who doesn't know how to play with a string. And every time you see West Indies bat first in Zimbabwe, we always 24 for 3, 15 for 3. And then again, the skipper, who is our world-class player, why is he not opening the batting?
And I've asked that many times.
You know what I'm saying? The shorter the format, you call for your best player to bat the most delivery.
Yes.
I don't want to say he's shying away from the
pun intended there.
You know, but it's because of the personnel and the bat selection. He was forced to do that to try to lengthen the batting. There would have been a perfect opportunity for a guy like Craig Brathwaite to get back into the team or to blood like we're not talking member here. We're talking personnel in terms
right.
of
Okay. Style of batting. Yeah.
Style of batting.
Yeah.
So a wonderful opportunity. If you don't want to go with Craig, why not take Narayan Chanderpaul? Have him come, especially you lost the toss. He's gonna soak up some test match style of play in the first 15 overs, and then you have your middle order flow.
Yeah.
But then you have guys off stump all over the place because of lack of technique and lack of footwork. The ball was swinging. Guys who never swung the ball in their life before swung the ball because of the conditions.
Yeah.
And here the toss went against West Indies. But that is the nature of the beast. You can't predict the toss. There's only one person I know who never lost a toss. And they didn't have him with them. That's the guy to your right side, your left side. Before he goes to toss, he'll ask what you guys want to do. If you want to back pad up, and he knows he's going to win.
Not for CMB though. Not for CMB. I've been joined by Jason. And forgive my bad manners, Jason. Thanks for joining us. I heard that you were coming in from Georgetown.
Had to check out the situation for the final. We're gonna be there. We're gonna try to stream a bit from there as much as we could. It's nice having Evan. We've been in contact a lot this season. And over the years, I've learned so much from him from a batting perspective because I play generally as a batsman. And if you look at him right now, I can tell that he has been working out. He is no longer active in regional cricket, but he's out now in franchise and he's still putting in the work. And where is that from our guys? They're guys that when it's downtime in cricket, they get huge.
Look on him though.
Not the last time I saw him. Last time I saw him, I had like stop go to the gym or something.
Yeah, and listen, I mean, I've gotten Ansel's initial thoughts on what we have seen in Zimbabwe. I really want to get your thought on it because for those who don't know, Jason is a guy and he's national. Played at the highest level across there and also plays here and also in Trinidad. So he's very knowledgeable about regional cricket, or I call it regionalism. And that's your thought. That's your thoughts on the cricket.
I don't want to say what I want to say, but
there was a lot of
things that were questionable, especially in the last game that they had that opportunity to go into the Super Sixes with points. There were a lot of questionable decisions in that game specifically. Rustin Chase bowled in the 49th over. I don't care if Romario Shepherd and whoever were the other fast bowlers at the time had bowled 9 overs for 100 runs. I would have preferred a a fast bowler bowling at that stage.
Yeah.
A guy just defending 8 runs in the last over of the game. Didn't bowl the super over. You had the coaches, you had the head coach, the bowling coach, all the backroom staff walk onto the field between innings, knowing fully well that Nicholas Pooran would not be able to bat. And you throw the ball to a medium pace. So I came in and heard you speak about Jason Holland, Nicholas Pooran, and these guys being wanted all around the world. I don't think Jason Holland is going to be wanted for quite some time in lesser over games.
But who would you blame in a situation like that? The captain or the management?
For the
penultimate over.
Penultimate over, the captain has to take responsibility.
Of course.
The senior players on the field, whoever helped him make that decision, that was the wrong decision.
Yeah, well, it proved to be the wrong decision.
I don't think that could have gone any other way. There were 2 right-handers at the crease. Had it been a left-hander, I would have
set right-handers.
Yeah, I would have given in if there were like 2 left-handers at the wicket or something. But I mean, it was just thoughtless.
Yeah. And I still want to bring back in even again before we get to Ned. I mean, are you going to make? Do we think we have changes to make to this current West Indies team? And if there are changes to make, who are some of the players you would recommend to get into the setup?
Players don't select themselves, and that is a very literal statement. Especially now, where back in the days, after a season, you get your quota of runs, you get your quota of wickets. You sit down and you start preparing. You pack your bags because you've selected yourself. So, having said that, that have been happening for the last couple of years. So the people who are charged with the responsibility to select these players, they are the ones in the direction where we should be looking in terms of change. If you know what I'm saying. I don't want to call any player's name, but if we look at the stats, I'm very meticulous when it comes to stats. 2 things I pay very close attention to when it comes to cricket, and it's things that we in the Caribbean take for granted: stats and technique. Those are the 2 things that are killing us. Because if we look at the recent Super 50 tournament, would have preceded all these 50 over games to represent the West Indies, I'm telling you, it will be a totally different team. And because guys would have not paid attention to details and take things for granted and pick all these guys from how could you pick a T20 team? How could you pick a 50 over team from a T20 tournament from franchise? and that is where we are putting our foot in our mouths and we are doing all the wrong things and hoping for the right results. It's not going to happen. It haven't happened. When Australia, the West Indies, we haven't turned the corner since. The corner is a long corner. So that corner is bad rock. That bad rock corner, that's a never-ending corner. You know what I mean? And it's crazy that we put the blame squarely on these players who, in the circumstances, would do what they know best. They will give up their best, but clearly their best aren't good enough. Like I said, like this guy, that Scott Edwards guy from Netherlands, he's a serious player. He's a captain. You listen to these guys speak. One thing I pay attention to as well, Marcus, is not only the cricket, but the interviews after the game. And I honestly heard Zimbabwe's captain came and said, I think it was Ian Bishop who had interviewed him, and he had said, teams like West Indies and them, we have to be very wary of them because they could cause an upset. I was like, what?
I heard that too.
then Sikandar Raza, who got man of the match, he was like, we alluded to the fact that we were 30 runs short, but because of pride and passion and the extra 12 man in the crowd, they took us across the line. So those guys knew for a fact that they were 30 runs short. And then they were still thinking that, we're going to win the game. And then they have the confidence to say that teams like West Indies can cause an upset. And you guys on the panel and people around the world keep saying that these guys are minnows. They aren't minnows. They are head smarter than us. They are head smarter than our players. And that is what they are beating us on.
We call them minnows because that's where the ICC placed them. ICC placed them in the minnows category.
I think Zimbabwe fell off around the same time as West Indies after Andy Flower and Flower. Yeah, so it
Just,
kind of
just one
came.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
anyway.
go ahead.
You want me to tell you guys something? If West Indies are to go and play in an associate tournament to qualify, they will never ever qualify. One, the pitches are different. They are unprepared. Two, the umpire, there's no DRS. To be fair, that Zimbabwe game, we had about 2 dubious decisions, right? That is the nature of cricket without the 12th man, without the referral system, right?
The DRS, yeah.
You understand? So look at these guys. They would have come through playing like 50 to 60 games in those trying conditions.
Yeah.
Imagine when they reach to Zimbabwe on absolute belters. That is why they can easily chase 370.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, one of the reasons I really appreciate you joining the live tonight is that experience. I mean, you're playing cricket around the world, you're hearing and you're seeing all these different things. And I want to get into a very touchy point in terms of cricket in Trinidad and Tobago, because recently I've seen where Darren Ganga, and I call him one of our most successful captains. And you mentioned him earlier as being a very astute captain. He plans well and executes on the field of play. You saw where he has lashed out at the cricket board. He lashed out at the Trinidad and Tobago cricket board in terms of the selection of the players, right? And it starts there, as I mentioned earlier. It starts at the regional level. When I say regional level, the territorial boards, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, Barbados, Guyana. It starts there because who you pick is who the cricket West Indies selectors will see to pick for West Indies. Darren Ganga spoke out and said that the Trinidad and Tobago cricket board, they are picking players that are not good based on stats and they're too old. I mean, I'm not calling names, but I'm sure that you'd have seen that post from Darren Ganga. He made 2 posts. Right? The first one he spoke about a particular player, and then the next one he compared the age bracket of the big nations. No, not the big nations. The team that is currently the 50 over champion is Jamaica, and the team that is currently the 4-day champion, Guyana. And the average age group in that Guyanese team, 26. Average age group in the Jamaican team, 35. You wouldn't want to know the average age group in the Trinidad and Tobago team. But I just want to get your thoughts on the current setup in Trinidad and Tobago, given that we haven't won a 4-day title since 2005. And I think we got to the finals sometime in the 50 overs.
I think they won about 2 or 3 overs.
Yeah. But just your thoughts on the current setup, having been a player from Tobago, making that national team and knowing the struggles that you'd have been through to get onto that team. Are we regressing? Are we progressing? Your thoughts on this current setup?
Firstly, I'll dodge that bouncer, Marcus. That was a very good bouncer. You're sticking me up with that bouncer. Just to put some facts based on I haven't seen the post. I'll leave it as that. But in terms of Trinidad and Tobago cricket, we are in shambles, Marcus. I was having a discussion with one of my very, very good friends. He's also from Trinidad and Tobago, also a commentator. And we chat together. We chat for like hours. I was actually telling him that, West Indies is going to get beat bad in this World Cup. And he was literally commenting and couldn't believe that what I was telling him, exactly how I was telling him, it was unfolding right in front of his eyes. But at the end of the day, it all starts. So what he was saying is that he was there chatting with guys like Ashwell Prince and these guys. And what they do in those countries is that the best coaches, they don't coach the national team. They coach on 13s, they coach on 15s, they coach on the 17s, they coach on the 19s. They're in the academies. So when these guys learn the basics, what we are lacking in the West Indies is cricket education. We take education for a joke. Back in the days, guys will say, boy, he a bright boy, so we not picky. This are for the fellas and them who ain't really smart. And we see where that have landed us in trouble time and time again. We used to dominate the T20 as well. And, people will say, take it deep. Means anything past 20 overs, they will beat West Indies. Now, once it reached to a scenario where if West Indies need, and I could show you a couple of games, once West Indies need anything 6 runs or over or less, they cannot make it. The only time they will change. Look, I have stats to back. The only time they will change is if they need 10 to 15 runs or over.
Because they have to keep going.
At that point, is one track thinking, boom, boom. If you're boom and out, then that was the situation required. Anytime it requires top one, top two, single, double, rotate, strike, they cannot do it because how do we get a single? You see the Indians and the Aussies and the English players tuck down to third man for one, tuck in the gap. How do we get a single? Boom, a big shot that goes wrong. Drops in the gap. That's how we get. So it's not something that they are accustomed doing. And back to that point where my friend was saying that you'll have these top coaches coaching the academies and the lower levels, and then you have a decent coach at the international. So when these guys make the step up, they're already equipped. You don't necessarily need a big time coach at the international level, because you can't come and tell me that once I'm playing international cricket, I don't know how to swing a ball. I don't know how to seam a ball. I was talking to a guy some years ago, Marcus, and this guy would have at that time played 15 to 20 test matches. And I was asking him about backspin, and he looked at me like I was talking Spanish. And I was so embarrassed for him, and he was like, "What do you mean, what's backspin?" And I left it because backspin is what guys like Jofra Archer, Bhuvishwa Kumar, Bhuvi, Sean Pollock, Curtly Ambrose. That is what they do. That is what they do. They backspin the ball. It's physical. So I asked him, which way do you think the ball goes through the air? If it's forward spin or if it's backspin? And he was like, "What kind of stupid question you asking?" Obviously forward spin. And this was a guy who would have played 15 to 20 test matches at that time. So imagine the thought process. Like when you go there and you bowl into a guy who tell you, "Yo, I'll see you at your third spell." He waiting for you to bowl tomorrow against that. So these are the kind of basic fundamentals, and when we talk about cricketing education, that is beating us in the Caribbean. And these kids here, Marcus, I've coached some youngsters here in the USA. And you guys talk about talent. We don't have any talent in the Caribbean compared to what I've seen out here.
So are we going to be seeing you apply for the top job in Trinidad and Tobago soon in terms of coaching the Trinidad and Tobago team with all the experience?
I'm unfortunate. It's not about who is the most qualified. And that is very sad. It doesn't matter whether I have a level. Look who is our under 19 coach. Look who was our last under 19 coach. What are those guys doing coaching our kids? And that is where the problem lies. I'm not attacking anybody. But we have so much better resources. But because of there's one guy who is a national senior team selector for today. You could, 4 of them played for Trinidad, the other haven't. He haven't even played club cricket at a high standard, and he's a national senior team selector.
I've seen John West Jagasaw on the live here tonight, and he's saying if the right players don't get picked, how would West Indies get the best? And of course John West Jagasaw, should I say a former national player or is he current?
I wouldn't call him.
No, former. He's a former. You know you're a former. We are both formers.
John, I saw, and I think I told that many times, I saw John Ross Jagasaw bowled at Shaw Park. And the guy, talking about mystery, because we're missing that mystery right now without Sunil.
Exactly.
And, to see
Marcus,
that,
you just asked about Trinidad and Tobago problems, right? Jonas, they have just issued 50 names. And I'm sure you would have seen it. And Jonas Jagasaw isn't a part of this. So who are we going to pick? Who are we going to pick?
So it appears that the West Indies the problems, not just on the field of play, but it's basically deep-rooted. Because you pointed to some very good facts there in terms of coaching. Because if it is that you have your best coach coaching the national team, who's coaching the grassroots? Who's coaching the grassroots? And that's where I really need the better coaches.
We're still stuck in the days of your PE teacher being your cricket coach. It cannot work. In Cricket Australia, and is level 3 coaches, level 1, level 2, level 3. Those are the people who are coaching our kids, coaching the kids at age 12, at age 13. So by the time they're age 15, they're ready to play senior men's cricket or senior women cricket. Because don't take away from the fact that the women have brought us a lot of joy as well. When we won the treble in, I think it was 2016. But look what have happened since 2016 now. And why are you even asking me with that slow bumper if we have digressed? If we have won 3 titles from 2016, and then in 2023, we failed to qualify for a 50 over World Cup. In 2022, we failed to qualify for a T20 World Cup. Was that question rhetorical, Mr. Speaker?
You know what? We're gonna end this interview too. You know, but we thank you so much, Mr. Stewart. I mean, your contribution has been amazing. I think it points to a lot of issues that we have in West Indies cricket that can't be dealt with overnight. But we appreciate your contribution, and we hope to see you applying for the senior team coach job very soon.
And make sure I'm getting
Have a good night. Yeah, you know, a very, very, very frank discussion there with Navin. Always have a good conversation. And just before we get into the CPL, because we spent a lot of time with West Indies cricket, I just want to shout out some of the guys on the live here. I've seen, of course, JP Michael will always be with us. That's Jared Prasad, happens to be the brother of Jason Prasad. Candice Jackson is on the live, and she's talking about West Indies lacking strategy, and that has been the the discussion has surrounded strategies in terms of West Indies cricket. I think Caswell Gordon, I mean, I remember the days playing against Caswell Ball in his lollipops, but I'm sure that he will feel that, you know, they need someone like him on the West Indies team because we don't have the variety in a way. You know, you can have hit Caswell with 5 6s, he's still throwing it up, you know, hoping that you'll get your wicket on the last ball. You know, we have Roxanne Diallo, she's on the live as well. Katie Robinson, Elton Winchester, and Tinel Trim, and Ria Charles. And thank you guys so much for being a part of the conversation. You can access any question and join the conversation. Just before we move out of the West Indies discussion, Darren Sammy, right choice for coach?
Yeah, I have no problem with Darren Sammy being the coach. I mean, he has won us two World Cup T20 World Cup championships. Could have been 3. Right, if it wasn't for a Doobie call in 2014, you know, that cost us that semi-final game, right? So I mean, he comes with a lot of passion, right? So I have no issues with Darren Sammy being appointed coach. Like I said, he has a lot of not questions, but he had some tough decisions to make.
And you being Darren Sammy, you put yourself in Darren Sammy's shoe. Would you want to have your own players to go forward? Or are you going to continue with this crop of players and then see if they can buy into your philosophy?
No, of course, because they made as soon as Darren Sammy got the job, what was the first thing he did? He called back for the players that he felt.
Was that a good move?
Of course. I would not want to have in my team.
Andrew Russell?
I mean, he's a TKR man. I wouldn't want him. but guys like Sunil, Hetmyer, these guys need to be playing for West Indies.
Yeah, and Jason, as Ned would have mentioned Hetmyer's name there. Is there a future for Shimron Hetmyer in West Indies cricket?
I always allude to the fact that whilst everyone else was touring the world playing BPL, playing T10, Abu Dhabi T10, Shimron Hetmyer was in Maroon until this fitness issue came up. And I think there's a lot of apologies to be made to him and for him to make to the board for the way he reacted. There's things that like missing 2 flights and these kind of things that people allude to, but I clearly remember that this guy was in Maroon when everyone else was globe hopping.
Yeah, well, Hetmyer, I mean, you guys know I am a fan of Hetmyer, but when it comes to West Indies cricket, you know, we always remember the things that are immediate. We may not remember things in the past, and you brought that up. That's a solid point you made because we question players and their loyalty.
Yeah, I think he's only played now PSL once or twice and Bangladesh maybe once. He hasn't played that T10. He hasn't played in Sri Lanka. And
I saw him recently. He returned recently to play with Ghana.
Just IPL.
Yeah, because he played with Ghana recently.
Yeah.
Not Ghana. He played with his club, and then he played with Ghana.
Yeah.
And then he asked him for some leave. Not too sure for what reason, but you know, But Hetmyer is definitely right up there with one of the better batters that we have in the Caribbean. And you just imagine a Hetmyer and Nicholas Pruan in our middle order. With Casey Carty and young Atenes coming out now. Right? Because to be very honest, I'm going to tell you now, Johnson Charles, Jason Holder, your partner there, Shamar Brooks. That's it for them, you know. For me, if I'm Darren Sammy, I may want them around me, but not on the team. They can come and be mentors or go back home to their region, the territorial boards, and see what best they can contribute there. Darren Johnson Charles is not a 50-over player for me.
No, he's not.
He's a T20 player. Because as Nathan would have mentioned, when it comes to thinking the game for a particular period of time, if it's 15 runs over, Johnson Charles go and bat. For the time, they say, right, it's in between score and it requires another thing, we have problems right there. And you can't coach that. Because I said before, if you play X amount of matches, the experience will be there. You made an next point as well, a very good point as well, and I've made it many times. Shea Hope not supposed to be batting at number 4. He has had success opening the batting. He's our most stable opening batter, and I think that we drop the ball and having him batting at 4. Most times he enters the crease.
He's under pressure.
15 for 2, and then he has to.
And that's the thing. Brandon King has had success in the middle for Jamaica.
Of course.
Brandon King. The change completely came around when Johan Botha had him open batting for the Amazon Warriors.
Yes.
Brandon King had that season of the CPL. That same season, he outscored everyone batting in the middle in the 4-day competition, compiling an innings. And one of the things I kept on talking about since we started the show was rotation and strike. And we had a laugh about it, and it's exactly what it's coming back to now. Even though this is the 50-over format, you need to be able to rotate the strike. If you're gonna, Niven just spoke about it. How are you gonna get a single? I mean, we saw people like Sarwan and these guys run the ball down to third man for 1. But when you look at the international level, these guys like Watson and them, they could get a single at long on and long off on every delivery on any length.
And it would ease because I mean that's part of the game. When you are playing 50-over cricket, Jason, and after the power play, the field spreads, you can close there and know where the gaps will be, and you should be able to rotate that. But then again, it brings us back to all the deep-rooted problems that Nathan would have brought up in terms of coaching and understanding cricket, because you can bring the best coach.
These guys,
and they don't have the mechanics. They don't have the mechanics.
When you get to that level, you're gonna help the guys that are 20, 21 coming into the team. But you can't. How are you gonna change Johnson Charles' technique at this point? He's on his way out. I know a lot of people are for Darren Sammy as the head coach. I'm not. I've made it clear that I want to, like Niven said, he likes to look at stats. I like to look at stats. I'm not gonna hire someone coming out to secondary school with a grade 1 or a distinction in accounts to be my chief accountant. Right? You're gonna have to do a
judging from the fact that St. Lucia Kings haven't won a TPL title. Yeah. Just imagine that.
People that support that team, blindly support.
I'm seeing Elton Winchester. Big up Elton out of Palatuve. He's saying that, guys, remember, this team is not our best team. It's a team the captain asked for as the continuation from the South Africa series. I asked the question, are these our best players? And who are we going to replace these players with? I mentioned some names a while ago there. I was calling him Casey Carty. He played in the last game. I think got run on for like 29. I like Ateneas.
He's been scoring a bagger in
even Kirk McKenzie, his name is? The guy McKenzie, right? Been doing wonderful work with the West Indies emerging players. And then, of course, not forgetting our boy, Joshua James. He's in and out.
He was the leading player for the emerging team at the academy.
Exactly. So we have players that can get into the team, because for now, we're not going to qualify for no World Cup. We're out of that. So we have 4 years.
Darren Sammy development.
Darren Sammy has 4 years. So we're going to be playing probably 18 matches, some friendly matches here and there. And I think India will be here.
India here already?
Yes, they're here already for test matches, but they're not going to be playing one day matches. England will be here later this year. I think in December they are going to be playing 1-day matches as well. This is the opportunity that we can have those young players, those fringe players that we spoke about on the team. But guys, we have to move forward from West Indies cricket because we want to talk about CPL. But before we talk about CPL, I want to say congratulations to Josh Telemark. And if the producer has that video now, I'm sure you guys will have seen where he got that hat trick. And I want to mention him because he's definitely one that we have to keep our eyes on. And not because he's from Tobago, but he's left-handed. He's left-handed. Those left-handed cricketers are cricketers they need to keep close, especially bowlers. And we saw him in Trinidad playing for
Soca Kings.
No, he played with Soca Kings, and the secondary school he's playing for now.
Barkpore.
Not Barkpore, but I'm going to get it soon. But he took a hat trick. He took 4 wickets. He took 4 wickets for 10 runs in a spell of 2 overs. including a hat-trick in a T10 game.
Yeah.
And those are things that, we have to keep our eyes on. Talent is there. Similar to the guy who scored the 400 there, Kaletaran. The West Indies, the Trinidad were kicking about him around.
I wouldn't say that the talent was totally there. I mean, Ned, you and I would have had the opportunity to play with Josh at a really young age when we first played that 2-day competition. He wasn't the most talented. Yeah. There was potential there.
Yeah, and look at him here.
I mean, he's been one of the hardest workers. When you check his social media statuses, this guy is constantly working at his game, and he's what, 17, 18 now?
Yeah, and so I really want to congratulate him. I know his father is always behind him. And if you hear the commentary here, and they talk about beating for pace, this is a slower ball, very, very intelligent, and that's what we spoke about again.
A hat-trick with all 3 stumps.
Yeah, cricket is you have to have cricket smarts, and the hat-trick was a very good hat-trick. He was bowling. I think the ball is second over, and then he bowled the final over. And he got 4 wickets. In that final over, he got 3 wickets, but in total, he got 4 wickets with 10 runs. He's definitely someone that we should keep our eyes on. Some are saying that he should have been on the current on the 19 team, but obviously, some will say that probably his stats in the interzone didn't probably reach up for him to be selected. But we know definitely he has a talent. And I want to also shout out Orlando James from Tobago. He's on that Trinidad and Tobago on a 19 team currently in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. They played their first game yesterday. Unfortunately, he didn't get a score. He was asked to bat at 3. Normally he bats in the middle, but the regular number 3 batsman fell ill. So obviously, man for the hour. Lynn is what, 16, 17.
Yeah,
so he has years behind him. And based on how he would have played last year and played in Trinidad and in Tobago as well, they have seen that this guy is definitely one for the future. He can bat, he can bowl, and if you're asking the keep as well, he will keep as well.
When you talk about technique, that's one of the things I admire about him, and the work that he and Brian Brown does, and Brian does with him constantly repetition of strokes. I mean, his muscle memory is going to kick in, and you might say he bats in the middle, but for me, Lynn could be the next top West Indies opening batsman or one down.
Yeah, definitely. So I want to wish the team all the best out there in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. They fell to Barbados yesterday. They're going to play against Jamaica tomorrow. They will want to get that win tomorrow. Jamaica, they defeated Ghana in their first game. So not both teams, obviously. Jamaica on a win, Trinidad on a defeat, they'll want to get a victory. Guys, so this was yesterday. I mean, I saw a guy called Leacock bowling for Barbados.
That's the guy right there.
Yeah.
Jaden Leacock.
This is the guy that dismissed Lynn. That's not a Leacock guy. He didn't out Lynn. This one in swing. Watch that. Wow. Remember we had that debate about swing? You saw that? You saw that?
That was late swing.
You saw that?
Yeah, that was late swing. Our debate was the difference between swing and seam.
So I think this is not a Leacock. Yeah, this is a Leacock guy here. This is a Leacock guy. That guy bowled with some good steam. And these regional tournaments, this is the same guy. These regional tournaments are so important to unearthing talent. On the 19 is closest senior team. Let's look at that delivery again. My goodness. Fantastic stuff there from that guy. I mean, tough luck to Lynn. I would say he got a fair delivery. You wouldn't think so?
That's what you call a beauty.
A beauty. But guys, one of the reasons we are here tonight, CPL is on the horizon. We are now in July, and we have August and August. It starts in August.
Yeah.
It starts in August. And obviously we have the Royals, the Patriots, you have the Knight Riders, the Warriors, the Kings, and the Talawas. All right. Last year,
the defending champions kind of get that
last year. And let's start off with the defending champions, and the producer will put up the team on the screen there. The Jamaica Talawas, and they would have made a significant transfer, so I say a trade. They made a trade in terms of transferring the captain of the winning team last year, Mr. Rob Powell, and they traded him with Hayden Walsh Jr. I want to get your thoughts on that one, fellas. Well, that's Jason's team.
So let me point out clearly that we had a few bad eggs. A few guys that were going around.
The captain was a bad egg?
The captain was a bad egg.
Wow.
Christopher Gale was a bad egg. and,
But Chris didn't play last year.
Andre Russell was a bad egg. We got rid of
Oh,
all
yeah.
of them eventually. These guys were taking off-field issues and bringing it to the fans and into the game. This is not what you want. When you look at Nicholas Puran, I think today I was looking at some clips that Bishop and Carlos were talking about, and you could see that Nicholas Puran was the motivator in the team.
Yeah.
If
Yes. I saw that as well. Yeah.
So Rustin Chase would have bowled a delivery that he thought was bad, and Puran was like, "No, that was a good delivery. That was good on the situation." So we might think, and a lot of persons did put it to me that Shea Hope's decisions were Bajan based because it was Rustin Chase and Jason Holder that he used in situations because he's accustomed to these guys. He knows what they do. He might not have been familiar with Romario Shepard to that extent, or Kimo Paul or whoever else was on the field as options. So he used those guys in that situation. I don't want to put it out in the public that if there's a Trinidad captain or a Trinidad selector, more Trinidad players.
But the perception is there.
Everyone wants to see everyone wants to see their local players perform. But if they're not the best for the situation, maybe that we'll get to that. But
how deep will this Jamaica Talawas team go this year?
Leg spin has been something that has been successful in T20 cricket. It doesn't matter where you bowl.
Good leg spin.
No, it doesn't matter where you bowl.
Good leg spin, please.
This guy we're talking about that got traded.
Yeah.
When he came into the Barbados Trident team,
was junior. If producer can put the team back up there.
When he came into that team, he came in and played less games than everyone else and got the most wickets in the tournament.
Because he was the player of the year. I can't remember the year. Playing with the Tridents.
Was that same year?
Yes. So
but he was bowling really bad, but most persons didn't get accustomed to him as yet. Which means
the gong's big.
Which means then that he needs to go off on his own. And this is
so
a guy.
You think this is a perfect team for him to?
This is to make a comeback because I believe that Hayden Walsh is probably better. Well, he's definitely better than Yannick Rayo, in my opinion. There's one leg spinner that I've always said that would have played for West Indies and would have been successful at the West Indies level. Unfortunately, the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board ended that career. That was Kisunat Magram, and I mean, guys going out now and saying everything that they want to say, and that's one of the guys that we don't see around cricket anymore. And West Indies were longing for a leg spinner. We had Devendra Bishu bowling the ball halfway in the pitch. We had Hayden Walsh bowling the ball halfway in the pitch for West Indies, and Magram had been getting wickets constantly. When Ned was at the top level, it was Ned, Jagasar, Magram, top three most years. Those were the guys getting the wickets, and we were longing for a leg spinner, and the Red Force team would not pick this guy and get him into the setup. So I mean, it's just unfortunate that Hayden Walsh's career went that way. I was talking to a guy today. We all know Timmy. We know Timmy as Timmy. But he has a lot of insight into cricket that we take for granted sometimes. He was telling me today about cricket exercises. We have guys going in the gym and working on biceps, when in cricket you need to work on your forearm strength because more of your power comes from your forearm than your bicep whilst batting. So I mean, we have to get the correct things.
Where do you see them finishing this year?
They're gonna reach in the playoffs, but I don't think they're gonna win this year.
Then your take on Jamaica in terms of, we're pressed for time. I mean, time flies when you have fun. But I want to get your take.
Talk about my team.
Where just and producer, if you can put the Jamaican team back up there, and when you watch up this team, Hayden Walsh, Junior Raymond, Reefer, Jangu, these are faces that we know and we know what they are capable of. Of course, Joshua James. We are hoping that he will be able to play a bigger role this year.
Yes, because this year he's no longer
an emerging player.
So he actually was drafted by the Jamaica Talawas, right? So this year, hopefully, right, for Joshua's sake and for the whole of Tobago's sake, that he get more, plenty playing time this year, right? And hopefully he could perform well, but the team knows.
All right, so we're gonna move to the Kings. The Kings are your team.
I just think you should just give us a trophy one time, right? We shouldn't waste time, We shouldn't waste time playing the tournament. Just give us a trophy one time. I'm just waiting for my team there. But my team is going all the way to the finals again, right? And this year we are going to get over the hurdle. You know why? You want to know why? Because I have 2 Sri Lankans. That's the reason why. I have 2 Sri Lankans.
You say you even mentioning Faf du Plessis in this squad as well?
No, well, we know Faf will be Faf, right? That is Mr. Consistent, right? But Marcus, I love my team, right? I have 2 Sri Lankans. Look, my boy Leo there. I played cricket with Leo for about 4 or 5 years in Trinidad, right? I think we bought Caripe over. We traded him for Mark, right? I think that's a good trade. We have a left-hand orthodox, right? We also have a leg spinner coming also, right? And we have Peace. We have plenty of them. We have not just Azari, not just Azari. We have this McKenny Clark fella.
A guy down below there bowls pretty quick
he's
as well.
he's
Matthew
lively.
Ford.
Yes, he's lively.
I know we have Matthew Ford.
Yes, so we have all bases covered.
So we have there's 2 Sri Lankans.
And look, we have it all spin. Look at that. We have the big Roshan Prime.
And you have the T20 specialist.
Just give us the trophy one time. I don't know. I don't know who beating this team.
And I think the Kings team, as the years gone by, I felt that you had a good team. But a good team to play in the playoffs, not to win the title.
Marcus, no.
A good team to play in the playoffs. Let
the record shows that the last 2 years, right? We knocked let me finish. We knocked your TKR team out of contentions and made your team dead last.
You know what? You know who knocked us out?
TKR.
Mark Deal. Who am I playing for now?
Where he wouldn't. I'm sorry. I told him this already, but he would not be playing. He'd be playing on the bench.
Right, so let's talk about the Amazon Warriors now. I mean, another team without a title like the Kings. So the Amazon Warriors. No, well, of course we have the females as well too. But you're talking about the male Amazon Warriors. Every year, if you ask anybody who are the teams that will probably get to the finals, you will say TKR and you will say the Amazon Warriors. What has been the missing ingredient for the Amazon Warriors in getting a title, Jason?
Squad balance. Squad balance has been the issue, and I think they did have that basis covered. I was kind of thinking, why would you go with Azam Khan, Shea Hope, and Gurbaz? Those are 3 guys that can all keep and bat. But now you have batting bases covered because you're gonna have someone. You're gonna have some of these all-rounders on the bench now, and you're gonna have more balance up front. Where in the past you would have had a guy like Romario Shepherd coming at 5. You're not going to have that anymore. You're going to have that squad balance. I think there's another part of this list. I mean, Imran Taher has been successful. I don't know. Dwayne Pretorius, I think he's moved across from the Talawas to this team now, as well as another all-rounder that's going to be in the team. Those 2 youngsters down in the middle, Matthew Nandu and Kelvin Anderson, just recently got into the Guyana 4-day setup as well. So whilst we're discussing Trinidad 4-day setup, Guyana is going for the youngsters.
For the youngsters, yeah.
So there's going to have guys like these on the bench. I mean, 1 year, this guy, Chanapal Hemraj, had a broken finger or something and had to play through because they had no one on the bench to replace him.
Where are they going to finish this year?
They're going to definitely finish in the top half of the table.
Then where you see Guyana finishing?
4th.
Okay. Over to the Patriots. The Patriots, of course, the Patriots are no longer being led by the champion himself. He has returned home. They sing Kitts and Nevis Patriots. Evan Lewis is still there. And I think it's Rakim was Barbados, yes. So, St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots, your thoughts on that team this year?
I'm happy that Evan is still there and he'll be the captain this year. But I also see they have Jed Gooley, but I don't think they'll be going very far.
Just look at the second name on that list.
That's just
going to remind you guys that person. Corbin Bush bowled really well last year as well. Joshua De Silva has shown in the recent Dream 11 that he can play a T20 game as well. And we know Ashmead Ned has been on the brink of West Indies cricket as well.
I don't see them getting to the playoffs, to be very honest. I think they are leaderless. In terms of having that inspiration that Babu would have given them last 2 years.
I would definitely put Fletcher in that position.
So I said the same thing because obviously they don't want to go with Lewis, but I think Fletcher is the man. You know, he's just charisma.
It's not like they have overseas players with experience that they can turn to, but I mean, Andrew Fletcher has played around the world.
So in terms of so we're down to.
I know you're trying to say PK for us, so let's go to
the Royals. Barbados again, always up there. They go under the radar, but cricket smart. Jason Hull and the guys there, always up there. I mean, and Robman Paul has been added to that squad. Kyle Mayers, we saw it was Tikshana. We saw him playing with Sri Lanka and what he has been doing. This squad here with Obed McCoy and Alec Atenes, I can see it already. This is Barbados versus TKR final. That's it for me. Yeah.
Rassi van der Dussen has been at the top
Yeah.
of the batting charts as well.
Yeah, it's and Rakim Cornwall is Rakim
is it
Rakim
third
Cornwall
name
is
there
scored.
for
Rakim Cornwall is scored that.
Yeah.
So Barbados very
Maybe
very
sure you don't want to change
a
blue
balance.
this year? You don't want to go a little darker?
They have a balanced squad, a really good squad. I think let's with all rounders and fellas I think suited for the T20 format. And of course we have to save the best for last. The TKR, I mimic this team as West Indies rejects.
I think this TKR team could be a World 11.
Yeah, because I mean Kyron Pollard, Andrew Russell, Solon Ryan, Nicholas Pruan, these are household names. Riley Russo, Akeem Hussain, Dwayne Bravo,
right
the champion is back.
Is this
Martin
over 40?
Guptill. And if you realize,
Over 40,
if you realize, we no longer have Tim Seifert and Colin Monroe, right? So Jason sees this team can go all the way, and I say can go all the way because cricket is played on the day. They have what it takes to win this CPL. But my biggest problem with this squad, or what I will be looking for, is the leadership, because with the likes of Pooran, Pollard, Bravo, and Russell, you want that ego may factor in.
I don't think that should be an issue because of the names them that you mentioned.
They're all good friends.
They're all playing at the same club.
Okay. And they all I mean, well, Nicholas Pooran moved this year, but they're all good friends. I don't think that will be a problem. Yeah. My thing with them is that they all. They're old.
So Ned, you have who you have within the CPL this year?
Oh, St. Lucia Kings winning the title, but we'll be playing Barbados
in the final.
Yeah, those are my two teams.
Okay. Jason, who you have in the final and who winning?
TKR with Bravo back home. You can't put anything past him. I think it's going to be a talking point for him on social that he had to come home and show Kyron Pollard the way. But I'm seeing the Knight Riders with that team. You have on paper, I'd say probably Royals or the Warriors.
Yeah, most definitely. And I mean, you don't have to ask me who I'm going with. It's going to be the TKR versus the Patriots in the final. Now, I would love to be in the final in Guyana, and just to get the vibe, you don't want the Guyana team to be in the final against a TKR. That will be a match made in heaven in terms of Guyana versus TKR, and all rivals, if you want to put it that way. Hetmar versus Pooran. But guys, it has been a long discussion tonight, and when it comes to West Indies cricket, I want to have full and suffice. But we felt like we needed to come and talk it out here tonight, get it off our chest, because trust me, I have been hurting. I have been getting up at 3 a.m. I still burning me. Watch my life. I read, watching West Indies cricket. I still got up and watched them this morning against Oman. No, I think it's a Jumbe, boy. I said, Marcus, I'm not watching them. Then like something, they'll be tapping me. Hey, West Indies playing. Go and watch. That has happened right too, and that is because we love West Indies cricket. And I don't think the fellas that are representing West Indies cricket understand how much we love West Indies cricket. You heard of the passion from James Saunders. You heard from Nate Vincent as well, and even those who joined us on the live here tonight. They love West Indies cricket, and we want to see that love and that loyalty from the players. We are not saying to not go to IPL and not go to the Big Bash and play around the world and make money. But when you're representing Maroon, we want to see that same passion you play with when you're representing Mumbai Indians or Chennai Super Kings or whoever it is. Once you're representing the West Indies.
If the West Indies Cricket Board could do one thing, is when they're giving these guys these NOCs, is that once you're being called home for national duty, for international cricket, you should make yourself available.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be a situation
it shouldn't be I ask you that, Jason. At the end of the day,
we've had situations where Andrew Russell was playing in Bangladesh and West Indies playing.
Yeah, before you got to that stage, who called you up? Your local, the territorial board, then West Indies, and then
most guys haven't gotten that break without playing for West Indies.
Okay, but guys, we ran out of time tonight. I want to thank Tobago Updates. Of course, Player 102, we live there as well. So those guys who viewed us on television, thank you so much for tuning in. I can tell you that we're going to try to keep this as regular as possible, because I know you guys need a platform to vent. Leave your wife, leave your husband, because trust me, it's not healthy to have that conversation at home. I just had to go outside and cuss by myself because wife just turned up the music. She just call them trail and complain that has been abusing she talking West Indies cricket. It's not healthy. It's not healthy, fans. But we love West Indies cricket. I love you guys. Stay safe out there. And of course, continue to rally.